This topic was brought up by Mr. Sujano on his channel. Shouts out to Mr. Sujano. You make great content and you have a nice beard. So he brought up the topic on one of his videos. He was talking about how a lot of people seem to be calling controllers that have all buttons. It seems like across the board, everybody is calling them hitbox controllers when Hitbox is not the name of a controller type, it's actually the name of a brand who makes controllers of that nature. So it was brought up like, what is it that we can do to change this? Because I'm sure Hitbox doesn't really like too much. I mean, it's probably flattering that their name has gotten out so much, but at the same time, it kind of like detaches their name from who they are and just labels it like, okay, this is the name of a controller. So it was brought up like, what exactly can we do to fix this? How can we change this? What exactly can we call these controllers that has all buttons but no stick? So give it over to you, Mr. Game and Lift. What do you think is something that could be done with everybody calling these controllers Hitbox? Is there anything we can do? Should it be something that we probably shouldn't worry too much about? What's your opinion on it?
Um, I don't think it's like a like huge major issue. Um, because I think the thing is, excuse me, I think the thing is that has led to this is the fact that there's never been like what's the word I just thought about the term a term to what's I just had the word, I forgot it, but there's no like term to describe like a controller or peripheral that doesn't have like a stick or anything like that. Um, so when Hitbox came out, that's what they were making. So they just said, okay, anything that doesn't have a stick with it, that's the Hitbox. When you look back, people use keyboards. Like a lot of people before Hitbox, keyboard was thing. Keyboard was literally basically kind of like the beginnings of a Hitbox. If you look at it, you got I think the key box. I forgot one of the ones that had like the keys on it, but it's like an arcade stick, the keys and the buttons. Um, so I think if there was a term that labeled all those things before the hitbox is made, there's like, oh well, anything that doesn't have a stick is so and so. Like I think people say that like the ABC all button controllers. If that was already a term that was established and coined before Hitbox was made, then it would have just been like, okay, Hitbox is this certain brand that makes this type of, but all these all button controllers aren't Hitboxes. So I think that was probably, I think that's the issue, just that we haven't really had a term, I don't think, before to group those things into one. So because as far as I know, Hitbox only makes Hitbox. Do they make anything else? Did they make the Smash Box?
Yeah, they make the hit boxes. They make the smash box, and what is the other one called?
The Cross was
The cross. Yeah, the cross. Something I can't think of it right now, but they make
okay.
three different boxes, I believe.
Okay.
I'm pretty
So
sure
yeah,
if we're wrong, somebody in the comments will let us know. So
so I think that's it. I think when Hitbox when they I think were first established, that's all they were making were hitboxes. So it kind of got grouped into, okay, if anything that doesn't have a stick with these buttons, all buttons, is going to be considered a hitbox. But now that they have other products and stuff, and it's just their branding. I think all you gotta do is just come up with some type of term: all button controllers, stickless controllers,
I think it's
something
the
like that.
cross up box. I think that's what it's called. The cross
Yeah,
up. Yeah.
yeah, I think yeah. So anything that doesn't have like a conventional, stick on top or bat top, just call it something like all button controller. I don't think it's a super huge like concern. I mean, unless maybe Hitbox gets to the point where they're like, or if you're gonna call the Hitbox, then you gotta give us some bread or something like that, or like give us credit or something. That's the only thing I can see. But I don't think it's that big of an issue where it's like if there was something like where someone was like making something and then patenting it like, oh, this is a hitbox, and it's like, bro, no, we are hitbox. This is our brand, and we did it first. So if that was the case, I can see it, but I don't think this is going to be a huge issue. Just come up with some type of blanket term. That's what I was trying to think of earlier. A blanketed term that covers everything that doesn't have a stick associated with it. So
The thing is, I don't think it's that huge of a deal. Um, I think what we have right now is like using hitbox as a kind of like Devin said, like it's a blanket term for controllers that don't have like sticks on them. And I remember at one point, like a while ago, they were actually having this conversation. I think they were having it on, I can't remember if it was on Twitter or Reddit, but I do remember them having a this conversation, and one of the terms that was suggested was leverless, and I was like, that sounds like a pretty cool term. I mean, leverless. I mean, it gets like it's pretty. I mean, it's pretty straightforward to the point. It doesn't have a lever on it. Makes sense. But I mean, as far as it goes, when we're talking about how the whether or not we should be using the term hitbox, I think maybe if like hitbox is like if they're kind of like, hey man, don't do that, or without giving somebody like which would be fair, I guess. But it's kind of like when somebody asks you to give them a Kleenex, well, they don't actually mean like for you to give them specifically a Kleenex tissue. They mean whatever like tissue you happen to have on hand. So it kind of becomes like Kleenex is kind of like the term that people like associate immediately as like give me a Kleenex. You mean a tissue, some tissue, like like for whatever thing you might have it, whatever purpose you might have it for. But they mean like give me some tissue. So um same thing with hitbox, I think. A lot of people, I think, just be like, oh, you got a hitbox, or a mix box. Some people call like someone's call like mix boxers or whatever. But I think like hitbox is kind of kind of like a colloquialism, I guess. For I mean, I wouldn't mind personally if we just called all things like kind of like just call them hitbox. I mean, although like hitbox does have its own brand, but when when someone says, "Oh, is that a hitbox?" You mean it's not exactly a hitbox, but it is a a all button controller, a leverless controller. Um, so I don't think it's that big of a deal until somebody makes it a big deal. But I wouldn't see any problem with just either like sticking with just calling things hitboxes.
I could understand the need to categorize these controllers differently so you don't really confuse different people and what you're talking about and things like that. Because once you get into the nitty gritty of these controllers and you learn that there's a difference, I can understand just wanting to give everything its own category so we can know exactly what we're talking about when we're talking about it. Especially if Hitbox has a problem with it. I really understand branding and it's kind of like Kleenex. Kleenex could kind of be like, I don't mind it because we're so goated. They even call your stuff Kleenex. But at the same time, I could understand if they were just like, we didn't like that because we want our stuff associated with our stuff, not our client stuff. Because if you did go to the store and you told somebody to go buy me some Kleenex and you really came back with like some great value tissue paper, then somebody could be like, I asked you for Kleenex, and then it's like, this is what you talking about? And it's like, no, I'm looking for the stuff on the box that says Kleenex. So I could understand, wanting there to be a separation from the brands and stuff like that. Like, hey, you tell your friend I want a hitbox for Christmas, and then next thing you know, he comes back with a Tupperware all buttons controller that he found online for the low. Uh, that he got for you and stuff like that. All these wild customizations that people make. So I can understand it. I mean, we could I like stickless. That just sounds like something that the FGC would say. Like, hey, what do you play? I play pad. Hey, what do you play? I play arcade stick. Hey, what do you play? I play stickless. So I mean that could be a term they use for the separations. I mean, I would say flat pad, like I mean, it's the flat surface, and but I mean it might be too close to just people thinking you still talking about pad or something like that. So leverless is pretty cool. ABC, I mean I don't know, that just sounds weird. Like I just don't see nobody keep spitting that back out. Like it doesn't sound like the type of cool terms the FGC likes to have. Like stickless would sound cool, or leverless would sound cool. You like, what do you play? ABC. It's like, what? You know. So yeah, I didn't ask you what's the letter of the day. So I could see. I just don't see that name sticking too much. But do I feel like there's necessarily a need for it? I mean, it all depends on Hitbox, but I would like the separation and stuff for it, just so we can just concretely know what it is that we're talking about. because I've seen, like I said, I've seen people that have like arcade sticks made out of like Tupperware, arcade sticks made out of like shoe boxes, and all these different things, and everybody's calling it hitbox, and it's just like no, no, that's Tupperware, that's the arcade Tupperware.
It's a meal
So
box.
yeah.
I remember my buddy would refer to the one that he made. We called it, what was it, the poverty box.
See, exactly. So, we it'd be cool to come up with a different term for this, and I think Hitbox will appreciate it. So when you say Hitbox, people will legit go buy you a Hitbox, and not the Frame One GG, and you're just like, well, I mean, it's a Hitbox. It's like I didn't ask you for the Frame One, I asked you for Hitbox. So I think it would be cool, and I mean, every competitor wants to stand out from amongst the, in the world of tissue paper. It's hard to do that now because you're all Kleenex. That's it. Like, so it's hard to stand out. I mean, you're only really getting bought just because you was the nearest one near me, and I was trying to hurry up and get out the store because my wife kept asking me for Kleenex. So yeah, that's what I believe. I don't think it's a big deal, but I think the separation, and the uniqueness, the unique name for it would be appreciated. So anybody else have anything they want to add?